Hey everybody, welcome to Omens, episode 12. I'm your host, Ryan. Sorry, today's going to be a little slow starting. I'm not quite in the exact mindset, but anyway, it's mid-November, almost the end, or close enough to the end. We're going from Scorpio into Sagittarius, right? Yeah, water into fire. Alright, so today we're talking about the Empress card. Major Arcana, all that. Yeah, I am a little off today, so sorry if there's a few pauses and whatnot. Alright. Yeah, let's go ahead and dive into it. I don't think I got any housekeeping. Alright, so the first part of the Empress and we're going to dive into is the number. And I have here for this section the La Favole Tarot. Just because it's freaking gothic and gorgeous. Alright. And she wanted to come out first. So the number of the Empress is 3. In Kabbalah, it's 4. Because it's the path. We'll get into that in a bit later. So 3, as we know, as we learned in the Three of Wands, it's the first number of the mind or the mental plane. It's the first thinking number, a gateway to the conscious mind and rational understanding. It's the number of memory as the connection between the mind, soul, and the body. It's a triangle, 3 sides. So that's number 3. And then I'm sure most of us know that the Empress is kind of the card of creativity or fertility and whatever. So in this one, I don't remember exactly where I've seen it before, or because I know I got it from somewhere. But this card, you could say, is that equation of 1 + 1 = 3. And before the math nerds get on me, I have a reason for that. It's one person plus one person, say in a, just to go based off of a heteronormative type deal. Actually, not even that. You have person with the womb, person with the testes, and together, when they come together, they create another being. So you have one person to hold, one person to give the fire, basically the egg and the sperm, and then together they create a third person. So 1 + 1 = 3. Then, because then you start with the two, you get the two parents, and then they create a child and all that. So honestly, that just as I was going through the numbers, it's like that popped in my head, and it's like that makes sense with the Empress because she is kind of creation, fertility, and all that. So, and she's married to the Emperor, so it's like with the Emperor and the Empress, you create the third. And also, in the Fool's Journey, she is the first other person the Fool meets. And so the Fool and the Magician, it could be, for going from a very young child, it's like, say, the Magician could either be a mentor, or for starting at the very beginning of life, the Magician might be the Fool himself coming into power, and then the High Priestess is when he starts seeing his unconsciousness. But the first other person outside of himself he meets is the Empress. And the where I get that from is my friend Rashad. That's kind of his way of explaining the Fool's Journey, is the Magician is the spirit of the person, and then the High Priestess is the soul of the person, and then the mother is the Empress is the mother, the Emperor's the father, all that. So that's his way of explaining it. But yeah, so she's kind of the mother card. And then 3 is, yeah, the mental, the mind plane when we first, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense with the Empress, but that's the number of her card. She is the third one. We've gone from the primary physical to the primary verbal, and now we're at the primary mental, which you might think maybe the Emperor would be better suited for, but the Empress is that point where everything first connects, where you first see a wholeness, and then we grow from that. All right, so Omens on that. All right, so I'm gonna try to check along a little bit here. So for the next part, well, actually, let's explain a little about each of these cards that I'm using from each deck. So in the La Favole Tarot, the Empress is, you're not actually seeing the Empress, you're seeing a reflection in a mirror, so you could almost say that that's you. And either a mirror or a painting, honestly. It could be either or. And you could either say it's a mirror and it's you reflecting there, and she's crying, she's weeping. So something is, she's kind of breaking down because all around her is cobwebs, there's darkness. It's like she's weeping, and she's that first seed, that first growth in this. So all there is kind of candles. So you can almost say it might even be a shrine. That's where you could see it as a picture. It's like, in that case, I'd read it more of, this is somebody's mother, or a woman outside of them that they consider like their mother, or a person outside of them that they consider as their mother role, as the role of mother for them. And kind of how they probably put this person up on a pedestal. And how maybe she or even, doesn't even necessarily have to be a feminine person that is kind of in the mother role. It's whatever the querent considers kind of their mother role for them. They might have put this person up on a pedestal in a shrine, and this one I'd say there's probably some discontent, some disconnect between the two of them. So this La Favole Empress is she's sorrowful. That's the first part you'll see, and that's because it's Gothic deck, but there is still that element of creativity. She is the only actual, where she is, there's fire, which is that spark, that moving forward, that, not moving forward, that, a spark, that first kick in the butt to get you moving forward. She can't move forward by herself. She needs that fire, and then she can fill all this blackness with creation. So yeah, I'm gonna start explaining a little bit about these cards themselves as I bring them up. So the next part of this, the Alchemy. So this is, so we got my Gilded Tarot for this. So, quote, I kind of just took the quote straight from the book, The Path of Alchemy. The Empress is the queen of nature in her full glory. This represents the invisible energies operating in the material body and life of the alchemist. As generator of forms and substance, she is the celestial waters as well, or the queen of heaven hidden in the priestess. So in alchemy, she's just going based off that. So in alchemy, we have three primary components that are part of the primo materia, or the first material. That's sulfur, mercury, and salt. And I think what this one is saying is she is a representation of Mercury, which is the element, kind of the element of water to a degree, because Mercury is the only liquid metal at room temperature. So she is the water, the spirit that flows in and gives everything else that kind of that boost. Sulfur is or is Mercury the soul? Mercury might be the soul. I might have that backwards. And that plays again into my friend's explanation of no, it doesn't. So my friend Rashad likes to point in tarot, how he understands it is every feminine character is as a soul aspect, every masculine character is a spirit aspect. So these could be like the soul of the Quran or the spirit of the sitter or whatever. Not necessarily somebody outside of you. So she is, yeah, she's that, again, more water, more creation. She doesn't really, this one doesn't have fire like we saw in the bubble. But this one is definitely kind of that Queen of Heaven archetype because she is standing in the heavens. She's got the symbol of Venus. She's holding the symbol of Venus, and we'll get more into that. And then she's got the 12 zodiac signs circling her because she's kind of that, she's what they dance around. She is that push, that first creation of, she is not what started, she's what holds everything. She's not what starts stuff. She's not the, oh, I got an idea, I'm gonna go do it. She's the, you have an idea, come make it. She is the maker. The Emperor has the idea, the Magician has the idea, the Fool wants to go get started. She is the Empress is the place where you go make it. She is Mother Earth and nature and Gaia. She is the womb that holds everything. She doesn't have everything necessary for creation. No one being can hold everything. But she is the kind of the important part, kind of the one main part. She's the laboratory, the workstation, the kitchen. She's the hearth. She's that place where you go to make things. So that's where she is, and she's a very necessary component even in alchemy. It's like you can't make anything with just sulfur or with just salt or with sulfur and salt. You have to have mercury in there to get closer to the prima materia, which is the entire reason for going through alchemy. So the Empress is the womb, basically, or like I said, just to not get it so damn physical, because I know even I'm just like, okay, whatever. Make it more relatable. Like I said, it could be the workstation, your altar. She's kind of the altar, the hearth, the kitchen. It's like it's where you go to make things. It's where you're like, oh, I have an idea. I have that initial push. Well, I need somewhere to actually make it. So where do I go? You go to the Empress. You go to, like, if you've got a meal to make, you're like, well, shit, I want to make this soup. What am I going to put it in? A pot. You're going to put it in a pot, and you're going to do it at your stove. That is the realm of the Empress, is the workspace that is prepared, the materials that you need to actually create, the solid materials that are already there, already prepared. You're going to use them over and over and over. You're going to make soup 100 times. You're going to sit there, you're going to make tea. You're going to whatever, or, you know, crap, I need to go do a ritual. I have a spell to do. Where am I going to do it? Your altar. Your altar is your solid space. So that is what the Empress is. She is that space. So that's how I'm seeing it through the alchemy stuff. So the next part of this is Kabbalah. So with the 22 major arcana, they're not the actual set. They're the paths in between Kabbalah. I know we talked about this, but I'll bring out a picture. So I have the Archeon Tarot for this one. Very much queenly right here. She's even got doesn't have too much symbols of fertility around her. There's some grapes and some lilies, which also could be seen as, because lilies are kind of, I think those are lilies. They're kind of unopened lilies, which are also happen to be the flowers of death, and we'll get it. That's a bit of a hint for some more stuff to come later. So in Kabbalah, she is associated with the Hebrew letter of Daleth. I hope I'm saying that right, which kind of sort of corresponds to the English letter of D, but, you know, I don't like using it. She is path 14, between Chakma, wisdom, and Binah, understanding. Her concept is Venus, her image is a door, and her number value is 4 in Kabbalah. So 4 is the second physical number. 4 is the groundedness, the stability. We went over this a couple weeks ago in the Four of Wands, I believe. It was the Four of Wands, right? Yes. So we went over the 4 a little bit more there. I'm not going to focus too much on numbers with these. We kind of already did. Alright, so her pathway is a pathway between Chakma and Binah. And I'm going to bring up a picture on this. So, so this is the Kabalistic Tree of Life. So we have Kether, and then Chakma, and Binah. I hope I'm getting that right. Yeah, okay. Nope, I didn't have it right. Alright, Chakma is this one, Binah is this one. Alright, so the Empress's path is this one right here in between these two. So we've already explored the paths in between the crown and wisdom, and the crown and understanding, opposite of what I just did. So now we've got, so this whole triangle here is actually what's known as the first world of fire. That is the closest to the most pure world, pure being kind of a specific occult understanding of it. Basically, it's in like Kabbalah and Alchemy, the purest form of stuff is as close to energy and nothingness as you can get for some weird reason. That seems to be a common theme for a lot of religions, is you want to get as close to nothingness as you can. Which I personally don't understand. Why would you want to be nothing? Alright, so anyway, but this is the highest one, the closest realm to God as the Kabbalah understands it, which I'm not going to get into that right now. But, so, again, she's this path in between Chakma and Binah, which is not quite as high as Kether. Neither of these is quite as high as Kether or the Crown, but they're right the next step down. So, anyway, that was the visuals giving you. So, Chakma is... Where'd you go? Wisdom. Chakma means wisdom. It's also known as the root of fire. And Binah means understanding, and is also known as the root of water. So, our queen here, again, we can just kind of see back in this Empress over here, where there's fire surrounding, and then, of course, she is known as water in Alchemy. She's that pathway in between the very, the basest, or the most pure form of fire and water you can have. She is that path in between the two, in between wisdom and understanding. Wisdom, as we know, is, what was it? I had it somewhere. Wisdom is kind of that knowledge gained. It's like you've read the books, you've done the work, and now you... no, that's understanding. Alright. So understanding is when you do the stuff, when you've gained the knowledge and you've done the stuff, and now you understand it. Wisdom is kind of that innate knowledge of, I don't know how I know this, but I know this, and I can take these different concepts and I can put them together into something that makes sense. That's closer to what wisdom is, I suppose. So she's that path in between. She is wisdom and understanding coming together. The path, able to traverse from one to the other. It's like, I understand this, now I will grow in wisdom of it. I have wisdom about this thing, but I don't have knowledge of it. I have more intuition about it. So let me go learn and understand. So she's the path you walk on between the two. She's what brings intuition and knowledge together. And then So a little bit about this specific card, I guess. I kind of went over that. If she was to fall in a reading, this one in particular, I would definitely put her closer to the mysteries. Not quite the same as, say, the High Priestess's mysteries, or as solid as, say, Hierophant's knowledge and schooling, but she's kind of that in-between, like I said. She's that in-between wisdom and understanding. She's the one that's like, I'd say you need to, this one came up, I'd be like, you need to look closer at your creativity and kind of grow it. It's like you have that raw creativity, or you have a basic understanding of it. Either you have that raw creativity, but you need to actually build it into something usable, or you have this kind of theoretical understanding, but you actually need to do it to get to that kind of being able to do it. You need to actually do it. So if she was going to come up, it's like definitely kind of a bridge. You need to look deeper into something. Alright. So, and then of course our next part is the Kabalistic Angel. So our Kabalistic Angel is Angel 48, Mihael, which means, their name means God, Father, the Generous. They are a virtue, which is, I believe, the second rank of angels down. I forgot to look at that. But I go over it in a past episode, so go search for it. I can't remember which episode. So they're a virtue. Their psalm, for those who do psalm magic, is Psalm 98:2. I'm actually going to probably read that one later because it adds a little bit more. So if this one comes up in a reading, Mihael, it's keywords for it are fertility and fruitfulness, which again, kind of standard with the Empress keywords. We have this angel here that's actually milking venom from a snake, interestingly enough. If you heard scratching, it was the dog. He's a butt. And it actually brings to mind a little bit of the story of Loki, the end story, kind of the final story of Loki and the Norse mythology, and how he was, because he finally screwed over the gods one too many times, he was bound in a cave with a serpent hung above him to drip venom onto him. And his wife, I can't remember her name, basically because she loved him so much, even though he didn't love her, apparently, she would hold a bowl over to catch all the dripping venom, and then she'd dump it out. But every time she dumped it out, there was a few drips that would fall onto him, and then he'd curse her and whatnot. Somebody pointed out, I don't remember where I read this, but very interesting, is Loki is basically, even though he's a frost giant, he was something to do with being the god of fire, and fire's greatest enemy would be water or ice. So say him fire bound in a cave, and then say a stalactite dripping of ice dripping onto him, water, and then it's like that'd be the I don't remember where I heard that, but yeah. So Mihael is, that kind of reminds me of that, except for in this case this angel is purposely taking the venom from the snake. I'm not sure what that's from. She can be called upon to preserve peace between married couples. She gives from protection, premonitions, and secret inspirations. So, again, we get a little bit more like we have back here of maybe the Empress has got some mysteries to herself. She's kind of the, like I said, the workstation, that place where creation is had. But at the same time, if you think about it, it's even a place where you go to create something is kind of mysterious. It's like, this is the place. It's like, why is it the place? What makes it the place? So there's some mysteries to even the Empress. Those born under Mihael will be passionate for love and will love walking and all pleasures in general. She's the sole guardian for those born from 3:30 to 4 p.m. She's the moral guardian of those born on May 6th, July 17th, September 27th, December 8th, February 18th, and the physical guardian for those born November 9th to 14th. And her psalm is, "The Lord hath made known his salvation, his righteousness hath he openly showed in the sight of the heathen." I was going to read that. Because it's a very interesting nuance of the Empress. It's not just this kind of adds a little bit more nuance. If this was to come up, I wouldn't read it as fertility and creation, or what are some of the others, like divine feminine or what have you. I'd say this is the Empress in her more strong form. This is, you need that, what is the word? That determined strength. That's not the strength that moves forward or the strength to fight back. It's that solid, kind of soft strength that just stands there and will not be moved. Is like mama bears. A mama bear and her cubs, or whatever have you, like that. It's like, this is that you will not hurt those I care for. This is very much a strong guardian. Mihael is more a strong guardian than most of the other empresses you will find in cards. Like, this one would be, she is, like, you can see, she's grabbing that snake. Like, she's like, no, your venom will not be used to harm. I'm going to collect it. She's collecting it here in this cup. She's going to collect it to use it. Now, as to whether she's going to use it to kind of make, because either an anti-venom, or hell, maybe even dilute it to use it for some sort of healing thing, or whether she's going to poison somebody who's threatening her or her children with her, well, that's up for debate. That's up for intuition. But that's someone who is like, no, I've had enough. I'm done. You are now mine, and I'm going to do what I need to do. This is strong, determined femininehood. This is, don't get in her way, because you will probably get yourself trampled. Or maybe not. Anyway. Checking along here. So, and this is just adding more and more onto the Empress as we're exploring this. Alright. We're already halfway through. Yes. Okay. So, the next part of this, usually I do an astrology and a celestial, but in this case, especially, it was pretty much the same thing. So, I am going to use my celestial tarot for this, but just kind of not split it into two. It's going to be one thing. So, the Empress is kind of a card of Earth, and the astrological association of the Empress is Venus. So the Empress is kind of Venus in her human form, a place to find her outlet for her creativity. Venus is the goddess of, and she's the Roman goddess of love, beauty, attraction, just lust, love, romantic and sexual loves. More specifically, romantic love. Eros, or Cupid, is actually kind of the god of sexual love, more so than Aphrodite or Venus. She's more, Venus is more closer to romantic love, though there is definitely sexual love in there. It's more, instead of, it's not raw lust, it's romance me, it's get that sensual feeling in there. It's more foreplay than the actual deed. I don't even know what the hell you'd call it. Do I look like I do sex? But that's not all she's part of. It's anything to do with love and beauty, especially in the planet Venus. It's So she is, Venus is also, she's graceful. She graces everything she touches with ease, comfort, affection, and enjoyment. It's like she's just pleasure. It doesn't necessarily need to be with other people. It can be by yourself, and yes, I mean that in a sexual way too. Masturbation, people. But not even just necessarily sex. It's putting flowers in your home. It's getting things just right. It's having things really nice and clean and just set up in a beautiful, graceful, flowy way. We actually recently talked a little bit about it with the Four of Wands, because of Venus kind of calming down Mars. And Venus actually, well, you can add a little more onto this. Venus rules 2 signs. And I hadn't thought of this before, but the astrology, tarot and astrology book, Get This Out of, mentioned that in keeping with her role as both the morning and the evening star, and I thought, oh, that makes sense. Because Venus is known as the morning star and as the evening star because of the way she transits the Earth, and it actually recently happened over this past year. Is the beginning of this year she was actually the evening star, and then due to the way her transit happened, she was out of our view of the sky during the night, and then she basically was on the other side of the world. And then as she transits and rotates, she comes back into view as the morning star. So she rises again as the morning star. So she'll be the morning star for a good few more months until she transits back to becoming the evening star. So she's got two forms. They're not. It's more like 2 sides of the exact same coin, and well, not even necessarily that. It's like she's very similar both in the morning and the evening kind of thing. It's just her focus is slightly shifted. So the first sign she rules, is Taurus, which is an earth sign, and she's very much more earthy than in her other sign of Libra. So her Taurus is all about the pleasures, the personal pleasures, the sensual, the comfort of the home. It's like just having stuff, and just, it's like me and my books back here. My moon sign's in Taurus, by the way, if you couldn't tell. So in the second house, and the second house that Taurus also rules is about the earthly possessions and the things you own, and the your house around you, your comfort stuff. Taurus in the second is what we love and attach. What we love, our attachments and earthly possessions. So in Taurus, she is very down to earth. She's very, I want to be comfortable. I want somebody to bring me. I want to sit down, curled up on the couch or wherever's comfy, with a blanket and a mug of hot cocoa and some cookies, chocolate chip cookies, and I just want to binge watch my favorite TV show, or sit there reading a book, or listening to my favorite music while the rain falls outside. Venus in Taurus is very earthy, just wants to feel, wants all their stuff, all their things to just be correct. The second sign she rules is Libra, and the 7th house. I got a double dose of Venus in my chart. I just realized. Should have realized it before. So Libra is kind of the sign of cooperation, how we work with others. The 7th house is the house of marriage, partnerships, personal relations. It's like how we get along with other people, how we manage to coexist in harmony with other people. So in Libra in the 7th, Venus is in her, how we share that love and beauty with others. Taurus in the 2nd is what we love and attract, what we love and our attachments and earthly possessions. And Libra, it's how we share the love and beauty with others. So she goes from I want to be by myself to I like you, You're comfy to be around, so get in the blanket with me, and we're gonna binge watch Supernatural or whatever. It's like that's kind of Libra, is where we're like, ooh, okay, you like the peanut butter cookies, I like the chocolate chip cookies, we're good. So yeah, that's kind of Venus and Libra. So if this, not Venus and Libra, Venus, that's kind of the Venus and the Empress card. So, Venus also happens to rule the throat, so as the book pointed out, she kind of rules sweet talk and love songs. Also associated with blood sugar levels and venereal disease, which, go figure, anything to do with comfort is sugar. Sugar brings us comfort, and sex ends up with venereal diseases. So, of course, she'd be associated with that. It's just anything to do with love and comfort, basically. So, if this card was to come up in the Celestial, I'd be like, depending on the other cards around it, I'd either read it as being Venus and Taurus or Venus and Libra. It's like either you need to focus on your home and what makes you comfortable and happy. You just need to get some love in your life. You need to get some love and sensual stuff in your life. Just get comfortable. Whether that include get comfortable with your partner or get comfortable with your family, or this came up in a business relation. I'd be like, you need to get. I'd be like, if they're having some kind of back and forth struggles with their business, I'd be like, okay, you guys need to find something in common and bring some harmony to this relationship. Otherwise, it's not gonna work. All right. So, yeah, if this card has come up, I'd be like, get some beauty going on. Just get some fucking flowers for your office space. You need to just make this thing gorgeous. Alright. These next two parts, yeah, we'll just keep it going with the order. So, our next section of this is, of course, the Spirit of Halloween Tarot. And I don't know how many people this is going to confuse. So, this one I'm actually going to read a little bit out of a book I have for it. But anyway, this card for the Empress, they have the being or monster, the being they have on this card is Kali. And yes, that Hindu goddess Kali, or the Hindu goddess Kali. So first off, you're getting there going, wait, what? We're just talking about love and beauty and sensual pleasures and just weird stuff, and now you're throwing the freaking devourer, the destroyer, on this card. It's like, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Yes, it does. Alright. So, Kali is scary. I will give you that. But, if you remember, so is Nihil. Like I was saying with this card, it's like, she is very much strength right there. She is like, no, I'm done with your bullshit. I'm gonna protect my own. Kali is very much like that. So, I'm going to go ahead and read out of a couple passages, because he says it better than I can, out of Shakti Mantras, Tapping into the Great Goddess Energy Within by Thomas Ashley Farrand. And because he does a very good job of explaining Kali, and you'd think I'd know better. Alright, so if you're impatient in your worldly or spiritual pursuits, Kali is for you. She is a fast track, often on a bumpy road, a note to problem solution and spiritual advancement. When called by mantras that carry her vibrations, Kali responds with direct power that often leads right through some cherished part of her ego attachments. Her power tools are the Kundalini Shakti, the power of spiritual electricity, the Kriya Shakti, the power to creatively affect the universe, and Ika Shakti, the power of will that personally compels our physical movements and actions, while in the universe it causes the galaxies to rush away from one another into cosmic night. Although she puts effective before gentle, it should also be noted that even in the midst of the sometimes turbulent effects she produces, Kali is a repository of great compassion. The great Indian Guru Paramahansa Ramakrishna viewed his beloved Kali as kindness and beneficence itself. But that is not the common conception of her. Mention the Hindu goddess Kali to someone who has a nodding acquaintance with Eastern philosophy and you get an immediate reaction. Oh, she's the one with the garland of skulls, or isn't she the one who drinks the blood of her enemies and the one for whom animal sacrifices are done? Are they still doing those? Or, I know she's the one with bright red eyes who sticks her tongue way out, and she's the one with the face dark and deep as space itself. Yes, that's right, I would confirm to each of these responses. That is Kali, and they still do animal sacrifices in her name in remote places in India. But more is the pity because they've lost track of who Kali is, what she stands for, and what her purpose is. There's a long-standing play on words concerning Kali and time, which in Sanskrit is Kala. The saying in the Far East is, nothing is as ruthless as Kala except Kali. Time is called the most ravenous creature of all. It inevitably devours all, taking our youth as an appetizer, our midlife as the main course, and our old age for dessert. Finished with us for one incarnation, it calls our number and sends us to another cycle of death and then rebirth. Not at all limited to our puny human lifetimes, it also dictates the erosion of the earth, and inexorably it consumes it, as well as the sun and the stars. But that which consumes even Kala is Kali, for she is the infinite receiver of all. The inky black look of Kali is the inky blackness of the void. In the cosmos, Kali is she to whom all the energy of the universe returns, devoid of form, aspect, or object. Kali is the void of the cosmos that gives birth to the next Mahakalpa, or the great cycle of another universe. In the Mahanirvana Tantra, Shiva praises Kali in the following way. At the dissolution of things, it is Kala, time, that will devour all, but it is Kali that devours even time, the original form and devourer of all things. Resuming yourself up to the great dissolution, you retain your own nature, dark and devoid of form. There you remain ineffable and inconceivable. Source of all forms, you are the multiform power of Maya, illusion, beginning of all, creatrix, protectress, and destructress. The Kamada Tantra also takes the idea of Kali to a more cosmic extension. There she is described as attributes, neither male nor female, but the sublime, imperishable one of being, consciousness, and bliss. But if this last is an accurate description, then from where did this current gruesome image come? Who is this ferocious Kali? In the earliest references to her, Kali does not have such a terrible reputation. If we go back far enough in time, we find only one reference to Kali as the tongue of fire. She is one of the 8 tongues of fire, in fact, and the part of the activity of Agni, the god or principle of fire. Of the 8 tongues, hers is the most destructive, and she came to be called Kali the Terrible, but this still referred only to an aspect of fire. Later she began to be depicted as a woman who, with disheveled hair, gaunt and fanged, riding on the back of a ghost, and frequenting cremation grounds. She is also described in some sources as wearing a garland of skulls, her elongated tongue sticking out of her mouth, sometimes dripping blood. She may be covered with snakes, and she laughs loudly, inspiring fear in all within hearing. There may be a very good explanation for the besmirching of it, if such it be, of Kali's reputation. The Brahmin priests achieved for themselves a level of infamy for selling indulgences of every sort for at least 2,000 years before the Catholic Church thought of doing so. For the right price, these priests would perform rituals to make it hail on your neighbor's crops or make their cattle become your cattle. Fearsome figures such as Kali was eventually purported to be would come in handy for manipulating pious but ignorant souls to the priest's own benefit and reward. Priests might be paid to invoke Kali on behalf of those who felt they required vengeance for wrong done to them, or priests might also be paid to invoke Kali for one's protection. That she was female was also useful in society that held women as second-class citizens. Her unsavory iconography reinforced certain grimy prejudices already in place. While I've yet to uncover proofs of this surmising the existence of a corrupt priest caste is factual in Kaliwood unless somehow subverted, be a natural enemy to this group. The true Kali is revealed in a simple story of the Bhagavata Purana. Here, the leader of a band of thieves holds Kali as his patroness saint. Thinking to please her and secure her blessing, the thief kidnaps a young Brahmin lad. The head of this boy would make the perfect offering to Kali, or so the thief imagines. But the thief is ignorant of Kali's inner purpose, nor did he comprehend the youth's level of consciousness. The young man was sinless, with a bright aura and untainted by any negative ego whatsoever. As a result, when he was brought before the image of Kali and his clothes set on fire, it was the image of Kali that burned, not the lad. Infuriated that the thieves would try to harm the innocent youth, Kali emerged from the statue and killed the leader of the thieves and his entire band of followers. Throughout, the young Brahmin boy remained unharmed. This is the real essence of Kali. She is the destroyer of negative ego. The more negative the ego, the greater the destruction. Even those who view Kali as the voracious warrior who can conquer demons by the square mile will readily admit that if you set a child upon the field of battle, she will immediately hear its cry, go to it, and take it to her breast. Her attitude instantly transforms into that of a mother who thinks only of the welfare of her children. It is surprising that so much is written about her and even practice that runs counter to this truth. So kind of her origin story, there's a few different myths. So there was a story in the previous chapter told the story of Durga, who emerged from the powers of 30 great celestials and slew the demon Mahi Asura. In other versions of the tale, just as Durga is getting ready to do battle, it is Kali who emerges from her forehead and engages the demons in war. In yet another story, Durga is invoked to do battle with a demon called Raktabija and his armies. Durga came to war accompanied by her band of feminine warriors called the Matrikas or the Mothers. When the battle commenced, the Matrikas destroyed the armies of Raktabija, while Durga concentrated on Raktabija himself. Whenever Durga struck the demon and spilled blood, just like the Hydra of the Greek myth of Hercules, a new Raktabija emerged from each drop of spilled blood. Soon there were hundreds of Raktabijas, and they were multiplying by the second. With this muttered supplication, Durga transformed herself into Kali, who immediately drank the blood of every Raktabija, letting not one drop escape her. And in still another tale, while Kali is devouring the legions of an enemy horde, there is fear on both sides of the conflict that she will not stop there, but will continue and eventually devour the world. To ward off such an eventuality, Shiva smears himself with holy cremation ash and goes to lie down before her in the battlefield. Kali continues through the field, destroying and trampling until she finds she is standing with one foot upon Shiva. As soon as she notices this, she sticks out her tongue in the manner in which she is most often betrayed. Some pundits have suggested this gesture with the tongue is to be regarded as an act of contrition or embarrassment, but I do not agree. I have had my own experiences with Kali. I can tell you that I believe she is pleased at the sight of Shiva, and her tongue is a playful invitation and a sign that the battle is over. Rather than an act of contrition, it is a succulent invitation of the most intimate sort. So, Kali as the Empress is very honestly perfect, because she is the great destroyer, the great battler. She is kind of one aspect of the divine feminine which encompasses two sides that you'd at first think would be completely incompatible, but come together perfectly. She is the destroyer, the devourer, and the protector. She will crush any negative ego, anything that threatens her children. Basically, she's destroyer. She's the destroyer, and she's the devourer. She is that which devours everything, till only purity is left. But she is also the mother, and I happen to be a devotee of Kali, actually, and when I first started working with her, it was a little terrifying, and she was a hard hitter, but slowly more and more as I actually got kind of working with her, it's like she became more and more motherly. She is, again, like that story said, she only destroys that which needs destroying. And she's not completely wild, just destroy everything, leave absolute chaos in this way, because she devours even chaos. It's like she is the void, blackness. So if this card was to come up in a reading, I would say, well, it would depend on how it came up, but more than likely, it would probably be, again, similar to Mihail. You need to be a lot more firm in your boundaries. You need to be a lot more aggressive. It's like you can't be passive, let everyone walk over. You need to find that Shakti power and bring it forward, and just, excuse me, you need to be powerful. Dang, I'm losing my voice. Alright, one sec. Alright, so we're nearing time, and so the last bit is traditional meaning. So I just kind of have some keywords here. So upright, comfortable, lushness, creation, divine feminine, love, fertile ground, growth, mother. Inverted or reversed, or the shadow side of it, smothering love, overbearing, obsessive, mean, being mean for the sake of being mean, kind of nasty, mean girl stuff. Uncaring of other people, just wanting to build up. So the card we have for it is from the Vice Versa Tarot. And what I like about this one is some people have a problem with the Empress being pregnant. I honestly don't care one way or another. But in this case, the Empress is kind of seen as the mother, but here she's basically a maiden. Or she's a youth. But at the same time, so that's my first initial impression. But you start looking closer and you see kind of there's some wrinkles, some lines, and then she's got kind of that look of you don't know what age she is. She could be 16 or 30 or 80. And it's like she's got a very youthful yet aged look. She is all women at all times. She is the divine feminine. She's crowned by stars. The 12 stars of the zodiac, and then Venus here. I'm assuming. That's how I'm reading it anyway. Kind of the 12 stars to represent the 12 signs of the zodiac, and then this star right here, which I believe to represent Venus, is actually green, so we have fertility and growth and groundedness, and she is surrounded by fields of wheat. Now, there's rocky ground right in front of her, pathway up to her. You can't have growth without something dying first. You can't have that lushness without there being some barrenness, and that's what she's representing. Her throne is solid rock covered in vines, and it's kind of coming up on night in this view. Now, on that side view, again, we emphasize that you can't have life without death. There's a skull sitting in this pond behind her. This water here is kind of that creation force, that slow-moving inhale kind of, or exhale breath, kind of that slow-moving just push and force, and just, it's not really pushing or forcing its way, it's just slowly moving. It's like things are going to break down out of its way eventually. And of course, like I said, there's a skull. From death comes life. There's a hawk up here. Messenger, there's a giant tree, which we get akin to the tree of life, like possibly at Yggdrasil. I don't know if it's actually an elm or a yew. I don't know if it's actually a yew. I'm not good at trees. But, and then of course we see the Hebrew letter Daleth on here, which again is speaking towards her path on the tree of life. And then on this side, you see that shield. It's a double-headed bird. So she's guarding. So kind of like the Janus, the two-headed god, the one that looks, the Roman god who looks both to the past and to the future, and at the same time the guarder of doorways. She's kind of guarding a doorway in her own way here with a two-headed bird on here, or a two-headed hawk, I think it is. Yeah, I think it's a hawk. Where it's like, because of this death, there is now life. And she's got all kinds of symbols in that, so this is this way I can read it any sort of way. It's like, this one you need to focus on creativity. Okay, you're being way too creative, invert it. It's like, okay, maybe you're being a little too creative, maybe you're being overdone with the love and stuff, and you need to get your feet on some actual freaking ground and just like maybe just chill a little bit. And then from that side view, it'd be like death has happened, but there's still great things in front of you. It might look like kind of bad right now, but there's from this death comes new life type deal. It's like you need to move ahead. If I had a focus of this Daleth there, I'd be like, you need to take this kind of wisdom and understanding and bring them together. If it was in reverse, however, I'd be like, okay, quit sitting there just thinking in the mire. It's like, yes, not everything's horrible and dead like you want to pretend it is. It's like you need to kind of get out of that muck and actually start using that muck to actually build a freaking hut. It's like, get out of that a little bit. So, yeah. Whew. I think that's all I got for you today on the Empress. Very interesting card, a lot more so than I think most people would think. It's not all just, yay, mother, the feminine, creation, fertility. It's like, no, there's more to it than just that. She's strength, and she can't really exist without stuff dying first. As I'm colleague. Alright, so, but yeah. So, let me know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe. Email me at bagsandomens@gmail.com. Come find me on Facebook at Bags and Omens. I'm starting to share the daily card draws I do from Intuitive Tarot Read onto my Bags and Omens page. So come check me out there. Hell, if you want to get a reading from me, contact me either at bagsandomens@gmail.com or on Facebook. But yeah, I think. Sorry if I'm a little out of it again today. It's just a lot later than I usually do this, so I think I use my energy up cleaning the apartment. Anyway, alright, so hope y'all have a good day. Next week will be a 5th Sunday, and I will be doing a special episode for that. I'm going to probably just kind of be explaining the entire structure of the tarot. Just kind of a quick semi-beginner's introduction to the tarot. Okay, probably not quick. I'm not really quick. And I'll probably get more into it than I probably necessarily need to, but, you know, might as well at least have an understanding of what the tarot is and why it is and how it's structured and all that. So, yeah, I'll be doing that as a special next week. So, look forward to that. Stay tuned. And I think that's it. So, bye-bye. Have fun. Have a good week. Don't die going from Scorpio into Sagittarius, even though I know it'll be very, very tempting to go from, oh, I've been sitting here, and ooh! It's like, don't flip the switch too fast, and don't be stupid during Thanksgiving. I'm just gonna put that out there. Alright, I'll get out of here now. Bye.